Hey everybody, welcome to another Stoneface Reactions. I'm Griffin, that's Theta, and we're here to watch more Gundam 00. Last time was Trans Am, where Lockon recovers from his injuries. The UN army announces the Operation Fallen Angel as a final offensive to destroy the Gundams. The HRL's Chibiru squadron continues to harass the exhausted Trinity siblings. Observing the situation of the Ptolemos, the Meisters wonder if they must be destroyed to finally end the war. Setsuna, wanting to learn the true purpose of the Gundams and following Lockon's suggestion that the HRL's attacks on Team Trinity require armed intervention on Celestial Being's part, gets down to earth with Laze in the GN arms. Meanwhile, Aliel Sanchez deceives Team Trinity and hijacks the Throne's Eye after killing Michael, then destroys the Throne Irons with Johan inside. Ali prepares to finish off Nina, but Satsuna arrives and engages in melee with Ali and the stolen throne. On the moon, Alejandro gains control of Veda and discovers Aeolus Skybird in cryostasis. Taking out a golden gun because he's a James Bond villain at this point, Alejandro fires repeatedly into Aeolus' capsule. But his actions set off a system trap. The trap unlocks the Trans Am system on the four original Gundams, giving them access to the full power and capabilities of their GN drives. With the Trans Am system, Setsuna is able to drive off Ali.
Yeah, now I remember. My
Now you
incredulity
remember.
at the Xanatos Gambit, and the fact that engineers working on the Meister's Gundams all this time, despite knowing how things work, couldn't figure out that this stuff was built in. That
Nothing gets
insanity.
me more hype than an overly complicated plan, so I'm pretty excited here.
Yeah, I anticipate 200 years after I death, this is going to be necessary. Or, in fact, that people will
Mhm.
still be using the same computers and transmission systems so that I can broadcast my signal. Or
I'm gonna
that
send you a telegram right now.
200 years ago? I don't know. No, that would be 1823. I don't think telegraph was invented by then.
I said telegram, but no, same difference, yeah.
Well, yeah, your
Um,
telegram would be sent by telegraph.
but ultimately,
Would it?
I think I probably said it last time, but his plan isn't that convoluted. It literally is just, all right, if things go badly, if my control slash prediction system fails and is destroyed, I'm just gonna assume the worst.
No, no, it's worse than that.
Take off the
It's
gloves.
I'm going to freeze myself for 200 to 300 years on a mystery moon base that I've created with my super advanced prediction system. Hazard cast, let's call it maybe. Not Veda. Let's go back to
Uh-huh.
24th Ward.
We'll call
Because
it psychopaths. Yeah.
no, Hazard cast is remember the 24th
I
Ward.
know.
Well,
Making more
it,
references. Keep going.
well, my reference I feel is better because it has literally has a dead body inside of it, just like Hazard cast did.
Spoilers, Theta. God.
Spoilers for a show we already finished. Anyway, um, yeah, if somebody somehow comes into my secret moon base and interacts with my computer system in order to bring my frozen cryostasis body out, and then decides to kill me,
Mm-hmm.
then this thing will happen. That is many layers of ifs, and I think my main gripe still, I I can handle
Mm-hmm.
Xanatos Gambits. My main gripe still falls with the engineer that's been fixing and repairing the Gundams doesn't
Oh yeah.
know this thing is there. There's a difference between a program unlocking potential and not knowing that the Gundam has potential, right? Like, when they put the spoiler, no, is it a spoiler they put on racing cars that inhibit them from going the maximum speed?
I think spoilers are supposed to like increase drag and keep them from flying upwards.
Well, there's a name for it. They put something on the cars to prevent them from going. They could go like 200 miles per hour easy. They tend
Mm-hmm.
to go like 100 something. And it would be the same example here that the guy repairing their Gundams doesn't recognize. You guys could be like outputting a lot more power. These things could be like even more powerful. For some reason, you guys just aren't using that much. No, it's just like, oh, this is all they can do. It's like it. that sort of thing is unrealistic. That
I
aspect.
mean, they have time frames for the amount of time they can be out. It could have always just been assumed to be like, oh yeah, we run them
No, no,
lower
no,
specifically so that they could have a 24-hour time
no, no,
span
no, no,
instead of
no.
a two.
You're already forgetting our commenters.
Probably.
And I think maybe or that, or you're thinking of the Trinity, which is the wrong
I'm just
people.
trying to get in a word and keep going.
Well, the Trinity are the ones that have the limited aspect because they have the false Gundam drives. Our Meisters have the authentic Gundam drives, which are unlimited. So they're not time framed by their power source. They're time framed by their mission parameters.
Hmm. And we did at least see that once, but yeah. I think I only got one last thing, which is that when it comes to Steinberg being frozen, I feel it's more Walt Disney than Mr. House. If you know what I mean here,
Well,
which is that I don't think it actually worked. I don't think there's any indication given that the freezing and unfreezing process actually works whatsoever. I think he was just a corpse the moment he stepped in there.
I think you also have to watch your back for the rest of the day because I think you're putting out information that's not generally known to the public. How do you know that Walt Disney's cryogenic freezing didn't work, Griff? What inside information do you have that the rest of us don't?
I know my spies don't fail. That's how I know.
Well, I'm just saying that we've never been given, for all we know, his head's still in the vault.
Or I guess more specifically, in reality here, the way water crystallizes once you put someone on ice, just destroys all the cells everywhere.
Yeah.
He's a pile of ice shaped goop right now.
I mean, it
So
all assumes that it's all not just made up. Like, that
mhm.
maybe he did try. I mean,
He's a smart guy. Certainly, a physicist and computer scientist and engineer can definitely work out a third or fourth field of science,
well,
right?
I mean, he did. I don't know who designed Epcot, but not him, but he did have the wherewithal to, like, hey, let's put all of our future tech into one, not future tech, let's put all of our thoughts about the future into one building. And then, I don't know, let's maybe have a resurrection wing in there. Who does resurrection help, Griff?
Walt Disney. Wait, no, I'm sorry, wrong series. All right,
That's a little callback to a conversation we had before the recording.
so with that out of the way, we do have some comments today. Let's go ahead and see what Dantas Power Us has to say. Powerful name right there. Glial cells are a thing. They're the one responsible for cleaning the brain, nursing the neurons, holding neurons in place, digest the dead neurons, etc. Basically, brain-related stuff. Cool. Uh, I'm more than certain they mentioned it, and I don't remember what context they did again.
I think you brought it up.
Probably did. GN particles block all forms of detection systems, minus your eyes and cameras. In world detection system, is called e-sensor. Physical GN type swords in general can pierce through GN article energy fields. Ooh, there you go.
So the only thing to beat one of our Gundams is another Gundam.
Right. Or just mash something big and heavy into it.
Well, no, the GN swords are made of GN particles. They're
Yeah.
saying the only thing that can pierce a GN field is a GN particle, or a GN particle sword.
Mhm. In another comment, our boy Dantes says, Setsuna's my boy. Not because he's the coolest, but because as a kid he witnessed war and was submerged in it with the added fanatic views of religious elements. And despite all of that, his next action for this is not being a scalding, boiling mad little boy and try to destroy a country. Not the damn world, not whine, not be the subjected in a philosophical debate of why he should destroy humanity because of gravity holding down their souls. Uh, but what Setsuna wanted to do instead was to destroy war. Because the biggest main reason why he killed his mom, his friends are dead, and he's homeless. Instead of becoming a villain, he became a man. Despite the way that he did it. And he only took CB because that is what Kid Setsuna knows his whole 10 years old of life after everything that happened to him in his own land. Look at other Gundam protagonists from other Gundam series. There's no other one like him. His compassion for humanity is something to be admired. I'm looking at your. We'll get to the end of the comment. We'll have you say your piece. Uh, Not Amuro, not Soldier Amuro, not Idealist like Char. The My Girl Said No Killing Simp Hero. I'm sorry, too true. Uh, the Kira Yamato, who doesn't know what a gun is or what politics is. The Mika, that's literally a lost child. All of them in Tekiden are. No, that's actually straight up true. And the Champ Doman, have you seen this man, Kashu, etc. By all intents and purposes, Setsuna's a Giga Chad. So, you might have some comments to this, Theta. What are you thinking?
Well, I don't remember. I responded to this one directly already. But I don't remember exactly what I said. I can't bring it up because it screws with the overlay. But Hero Yui is literally the archetype that Setsuna is built upon. I guess
They are
technically,
very much the same, especially in concept and origin, I feel.
technically half of Hero Yui is what he's built upon. Because if you remember, Hero Yui. Oh no, never mind. Sorry, I'm forgetting. I'm conflating two different characters together. Remember the
Fair.
other? I'm remembering the other guy who had no backstory and literally stole another guy's name. Was that Troa?
Yes, that was Troa.
Yeah, I was conflating Hero's backstory with Troa's. I had Hero killing some guy and taking his name. But yeah, no, I mean
Hero just took the name of like a former hero is all. Who's also called
Setsuna.
Hero, which is so confusing in English, by the way.
Setsuna is a mix of Mika and Hero. So when you say he's not like anybody else, he's kind of like everybody else. I think Domon is really the only one who's not like anyone else.
I think I'm less familiar with Domon in general, unfortunately.
Domon Kashu, you know, with the help of Kyoji.
Right, yeah, I know the meme, but I have not seen that series in so long. I don't have a good pin on his personality. But at least he's got something going for him.
Well,
That story is entirely different.
like most Gundam pilots, parents are dead. He's looking for his brother. You know,
Yeah.
that's the have you
Though
seen this man? Because he's got the half ripped picture.
mhm. Though I do have to say, I do agree with Dantas here. Setsuna at least is not frustrating. He makes perfect sense. He's definitely like very neutral, as like very many Gundam antagonists kind of are, but he's not a psychopath, and he specifically wants things and goes after them.
I don't know. I think he
He
could
is
be kind of a psychopath.
no problem. I mean, he's still out there killing people.
Well,
It's
no. I mean, from
gotta be
like
a little.
the meeting with the other Meisters where it's revealed that he killed the other one's
Mhm.
parents, was it? Not content
Yes.
with killing his own mom, he had to go and kill someone else's mom as well. Well,
Classic follow up, you know.
well, I mean, to be honest, we have no idea who's in the unfazed people and all the mobile suits he's destroyed so
Yeah.
far. Lots of mothers in the wake. But my point was, oh yeah, he says the thing, and he says, "Kill me if you want to. I'm gonna go keep doing my thing until you do," which feels kind of like a psychopathic thing to say. It's a complete dissonance between yourself and reality.
That's slightly more ego death than like psychopathy. That's he doesn't care about himself anymore. He is seriously depressed to the point that he does not value his own life right now. Which kind of classic among Gundam protagonists, I'm gonna be honest.
And it's hard to not compare him to Hero when he literally had a scene with that princess that was almost beat for beat the Relina Hero, invite me to your party thing. They had a conversation about the political climate. They did get a birthday party invite, and nobody wiped a tear away. And he didn't threaten to kill her. But other than those very major things that define that
I
sequence,
would say Setsuno's relationship with his princess is better than Hero Relina, because Relina's kinda dumb to start off with and doesn't care about anything except like stop all the fighting.
yeah, she's an idealist. Like,
Exactly.
what the princess do? Stop all the fighting. Literally.
Whereas, whereas I think Setsuna and his princess right now are both kind of realists. The princess is trying to navigate what is clearly a very complicated political situation, economic turmoil, and a complete change of economic production in her country. And Setsuna's like, all right, no, I get all of this, and I was a part of it, and I'm kind of upset about how things are going. Can we do something?
I would argue she's still more an idealist than a realist.
Totally. I mean, there's still definitely plenty of that there. But like if I were to put it on a scale, we're still closer towards the middle than we are towards idealist.
No, that's what I'm arguing. I'm
Oh,
arguing that
fair enough.
she's more closer to an idealist. She might be,
Hmm.
she might be moving on the scale towards realist as the show goes on, but she's still closer to idealist than realist.
Hmm. So,
You
next part of
don't,
the commentary.
you don't walk into the fanatic religious leader's camp to discuss peace terms on your own without a hint of idealism.
Speaking of idealism, Dantes also says, you can't truly call yourself peaceful unless you are capable of great violence. If you're not capable of violence, you're not peaceful, you're harmless. You will see this quote strongly echo with the aliens in the movie. Oh, yeah, the aliens, I keep forgetting.
You know what it reminds me of? There's a Star Trek Next Generation episode where I don't remember their name, the race name, but they're having a conversation on the bridge about them. I think Data and Worf,
Uh huh.
and the idea is that these guys are such tactical geniuses, like that they've never been defeated in like 2,000 years or something like that. Probably 200 years.
Uh huh.
And Worf goes, "So no one's ever fought them?" And it's like, "No, because the threat that they'll lose. So no one's ever put to the test." Well, then it's meaningless. Their reputation is meaningless unless someone does it.
Win by fear. Perfect strategy. No, they're the smartest ones.
Well, I mean, I think the classic representation is speak softly and carry a big stick, Teddy Roosevelt. So that you can work towards peace, but make sure that other people know you're capable of war if need be.
Hmm. And meanwhile, over here, of course, I'd have to probably just go ahead and say, like, you can totally be peaceful, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't be able to defend yourself.
We'll see the Peacecraft Kingdom, for example.
Hey, look, a great example of what happens.
We have our own
And
military defense force, despite not wanting a military.
need to get me a Gundam pilot who's just really into me. So, Dantes has one last thing to say here, which is no, the GN drives aren't receiving energy to produce energy. The reason, in my own fan theory, is the solar reactor does not work the way that you thought it is. Why they're called solar reactors is because it has the necessary elementary particles to have the sun in there. Ooh. So that makes it a fusion reactor. There we go. But as the you two know, we need a giant mass of these to form the sun, as Jupiter itself is a failed sun. The GN drive is an infinite source of energy. It's just that the output is usually not enough whenever a huge amount of particles are used, that it creates a problem, of which the GN drive can just refill mid-battle. But as usual, if the Gundam is using up all energy from the GN drive would not be able to balance the particle transfers throughout the entire suit. To mitigate this, they have what is called a GN condenser that stores the particles. Those circular designs all over them are where they've been placed. And the reason why they're not properly covered is simply because they're housing an energy source that reinforces the lattice structure of objects and also to be capable of blocking other physical objects.
Just circle back real quick. I think you're wrong, you Griff.
Me,
The sun is fission, isn't it? Not fusion.
fission is when it breaks apart. So a
Yeah.
nuclear reactor is fission. Fusion is where stuff comes together.
I
The sun merges hydrogen into.
No, the sun isn't building denser material in its core. It's
No, it
breaking it.
literally is.
No, it's breaking it down. That's where all the shit that shoots out from the sun comes from. It's breaking apart material and shooting it out to its outer layers. That's why it's breaking down heavy materials into lighter and lighter materials.
A star functions by purely gravity, using pressure to combine material together,
Well,
aka
that's what's keeping
hydrogen into
everything.
helium and then heavier
Yeah, that's
elements.
what's keeping everything bottled in. That's why when it breaks down all those things, it's getting weaker and weaker. Why it tends to
You're
expand.
thinking like reaction pressure and stuff right now, which is probably more complicated than this discussion needs to get. Um, but there is another part of this I'd like to address, which is Jupiter isn't necessarily a failed sun. That's kind of more like brown dwarf territory, where it's like a cross between gas giant and actual sun, where it does emit some amount of light, but it's still mostly gas. Which is kind of weird.
Oh
Jupiter
no,
is just a gas giant.
say no brown giant. Say yeah, it's not. It's closer to a failed sun than it is a brown giant.
Brown dwarf. I mean,
Yeah,
bleh,
because a brown
words.
dwarf is one of the ender stages of a sun's lifespan.
Mhm.
Jupiter would have had to have begun a successful star. I don't know if we're using that phrasing to have become anywhere near a brown dwarf. So,
Right. Jupiter still needs more mass yet to actually like have under its own gravity become a star. So it's just a gas giant. It hasn't failed anything.
I mean, famously, the 2001: A Space Odyssey, when all the monoliths dive into Jupiter to add their mass in order to create a star from Jupiter. That's
Mhm.
what's going on in that scene. If you didn't understand that.
And what about how all the GN drive stuff works? Like, did you get any of that?
Honestly, I was focusing on the fusion thing. But I already previously in the other comments, specifically the GN Blade thing, was already telling you the differences between the different GN drives. So,
hmm I think maybe what's more being said here is that there's probably some amount of capacitors at work here. Like the way he's describing, I'm just thinking it's like a capacitor would be exactly what you do here.
well, we've already had other commenters telling us about the differences between the drives, specifically that the
hmm
fake GN drives from the Trinity have a limited resource potential, whereas the sorry, whereas the Meister's GN drives are the real thing created by, you know, what's his name, dead guy on the moon.
Scheinberg.
Yeah, which are basically limitless. In fact,
Dude, I'm just gonna put it all into Disney.
they're so limitless that everything we've seen up till now has been their restricted amount of
hmm
power. So, like I said, which is also dumb.
So that just leaves us with the episode and watching them unleash that restricted power. You got anything you wanna say before we go ahead and get started?
Well, I don't know if you're looking at it, but I'm looking at the 00 mark on the episode, and there's
hmm
an interesting effect being displayed that I don't know is going to continue the moment I hit play, where it's like there's what, one,
hmm
two, three after images of the Gundam in the center of the screen being like pushed off to the right.
Uh, yeah, that probably is just gonna be like what's it called? Motion blur.
I don't know. It's not something we've seen before.
hmm All right then. Well, oh wait, no, he was totally like phase stepping last time, wasn't he?
I don't remember.
Let's find
Also,
out.
kind of ironic, the one of the phase shift ones, the farthest one to the right, kind of looks like. God, I can't remember the name of it. The the Sailor Moon looking Gundam from G Gundam.
Oh gosh.
I want to say it's Victory Gundam, but that's not right. That's another Gundam from a different series.
hmm All right then. So before we get started, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and comment down below to feed that algorithm. Top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this, unfiltered, uncensored, and uncut, as well as some early access stuff, you can check it out over on the Patreon. It's just $5 a month, but no pressure. So support the channel just a little bit extra.
Yeah, no, it's that Trans Am Gundam here. It's just going so fast.
Yeah. Oh, we got the good music back. Yeah.
なんだなんなんだねトランザムシステム俺は
Oh yeah, the recap forgot to mention like the whole like Scheinberg sending him specifically a message saying it's like, I bet you're like me.
Hey, it's your favorite person in the show.
She lived.
Oddly, I thought she was on the ground last episode.
I think she managed to get into her machine.
As I said last I remember her, she was literally just standing on the ground and not even in a Gundam yet.
Yeah, I believe last time Satsuna arrived, like just as she was probably about to lose, I think.
No, Satsuna's been there the whole fight. Satsuna's the one killing them. Do you remember he flew down to get into a fight with them?
And saved her, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying Nina was about to die.
Now, what are you talking about? They were out of their Gundams. They rushed in to attack him. They're the only ones there. Save her from who?
I think you're drastically misunderstanding my words.
You're saying saved her. They're fighting each other. Saved her from who?
He wasn't there at first, Theta. Who do you think? Allie.
You know when I raise my voice with that energy? That's because I'm literally trying to understand. And I feel like sometimes you don't give me stuff back because you're just like, you just don't understand that. I know, I'm asking you questions.
You know, it's a good thing they got a camera guy for that fight, right?
You know who might know about it? The fucking mechanic. I bet that's not even really him.
Ah yes, we're looking for the secret cryopod underneath the fake one.
Oh man, is the Batolmi a Voltron? I think that's what's going on, since you're not going to respond to that comment.
I'm sorry, I was just thinking like they answered your question about like why was it like this. Oh, and because it drops dramatically if you discharge all the capacity. So now we know.
地上にいた疑似太陽炉搭載型モビルスーツが前期空に上がった。やはり。またガンダムスローネの一機が敵に鹵獲。鹵獲？国連軍か。スローネを奪取したパイロットはアリーアル・サーシェス。以上。アリーアル・サーシェス。野郎がここに。どこまでコケにするつもりだ。何者だい？傭兵だと聞いているが。
But yeah, you remember the other one, the other pilot we hadn't seen before, who came flying up in a mech that seemed to like sit in a part of the ship.
ご丁寧に予備パーツまで揃えてくれると気が利くね。機関か、このガンダムを鹵獲したのは。中部特務部隊のセルゲイ・スミルノフ中佐だ。ロシアのアラグマから直々に挨拶していただけるとは。フランス第4独立外人騎兵連隊ゲイリー・ビアッジ将軍。
Gary.
ガンダム総統作戦
It's
に
always
参加さ
Gary.
せていただきます。聞かせてほしいものだな。
Look, if you gotta choose a code name, you know, Gary's always good.
Steve. Steve's gonna be mine.
そいつは企業秘密ということで。
Who did this? Steve!
ついにこの時が来たぞ。ハワード。答えは出たのか、セツナ。わからない。だが、俺は
俺たちはイオリア・シュヘンベルグに託された。なら俺は俺の意志で紛争根絶のために戦う。
Kind of weird to have dedication to a man who died 200 years before you were born.
There's a lot of people like that on Earth.
Right, but a bunch of those people were like political leaders or like martyrs or something. This dude was an engineer.
それスタルビーイングは俺たちは存在することに意義があるんじゃねえかってな。
存在すること。
人間は経験したことでしか本当の意味で理解しないということさ。
Yeah.
No one can ever understand anyone unless they also feel the exact same trauma.
I mean, it's kind of true.
Well, they're just going straight in for the attack again.
4,200 what?
Meters.
Miles?
おいおい、そりゃねえだろ。ロックがかかってやがる。
Blast my depth perception.
口で言って聞くタイプじゃない。私は前回の戦闘で彼に救われた。だから今度は私が彼を守る。
キュリオスをリニアフィールドに固定しました。
キュリオス、アレリアハプティズム、迎撃行動に入る。
敵輸送艦からモビルスーツが発進。
It's kind of odd that they always come at each other perfectly in the same plane of existence.
Right, yeah, that's just kind of classic space setup, right? It's like, well, okay, we gotta make sure that they're all facing each other.
Like it come up from underneath, it come from sideways at an angle.
Mm-hmm.
全パイロットに通達。出撃したガンダムは2機だけだ。フォーメーション245で対応。包囲して殲滅するぞ。了解。大佐、戦果を期待してください。
Imagine having to remember at least 245 formations.
Oh gosh.
おうおう、皆さんお元気なこって。
来たか。先制攻撃を仕掛ける。行け。
何？新装備か。
They've seen that before.
Yeah, they have. They've done it multiple times. It's that one Gundam's main weapon thing.
And yet they're like, no, a new weapon.
Hell, I think it was the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
The mechs that were attacking the space invading thing.
Quick, everyone, engage them in one-on-one duels only.
I guess they're not firing GN particles from their guns, because if they were, based on what we know, that should penetrate. So as much as we regular lasers.
He's also got the bigger, denser shield in the first place.
Yeah, but they're still not getting to the shield, so it doesn't matter. Help yourselves. No, I'll just do a little bit more fighting. Gary.
Camera more. Oh yeah, bad time for psychic attack. Because I definitely gotta say, the show's definitely keeping up the tension here, I think. Even though, like, suddenly we have, like, the, Trans Am system, it's like, okay, no, they're about to die, still.
Well, no one's activated any transient system yet. Remember, they glow like super bright yellow or something.
Mm-hmm. Ah, there we go.
I would say, yeah. Now we have Trans Am. And a new music score.
Ah, good that the second personality's finally deciding to help out a little. Instead of just being a jerk.
It's the Trans Am in an excited tone of voice that no one's ever said before.
I need to see a Death Blossom here. Let's go. Come on, don't disappoint.
Okay, calm down, 01.
Oh no, that's good.
Blasting off again.
Well, I'm not entirely disappointed in that.
I don't know how to describe this, so I'm just gonna say this generally. How dare you do what you did?
These guys have no focus fire whatsoever.
Cool, that seemed like it was like 100 missiles and 5 targets.
Well, those 5 are definitely gone. I think there was like 30 of them.
No, one just flew out of it, so 100 missiles killed 4 dudes. If only I had some sort of weird psycho predictive power I could use.
Come on, give me a new type flash right now. Let's do it.
Just once, I would like to see a retreating force just turn around and go back.
Yeah, just firing withdrawal. Let's do it.
I mean, I once did that with a video game a friend of mine was playing. It was a Mediterranean war game, set in Rome or something like that. In the 90s, I should say, the video game.
Famous video game in the 90s.
Well, I'm saying it's not one of the modern war games, it's like a console thing. But Caesar shows up and he's like, no, fucking retreat. And I'm like fighting with him physically with the controller to get his forces to attack. I don't want to watch people retreat. Well, you know what? Caesar runs up ahead and gets his ass fucking killed. And it's like, I just killed fucking Caesar. What are you retreating for? And that's because Caesar ran forwards because the mutants were retreating. And then when I fought the controller back and got to attack, retreat guys, come back and kill Caesar. So you see the Trans Am wear off, and then fucking back around and attack. I feel like the second half of that sentence wasn't necessary.
I do like immediately that Lock-On has like way more to say to Ali than Setsuna did. Setsuna just like, nah, I'm gonna fucking kill him.
Despite Setsuna having all the backstory with him.
トランザムで戦闘中域へ向かう
Round 2, here
I
we
mean,
go.
if Trans Am has a timetable, maybe you should get to the battlefield and then activate Trans Am. Desire?
Oh, that... Wait, no, he's still alive.
Of course, because he's American.
America.
Fuck yeah. Now, if America is the world police, does that mean that you hate Americans, Griff?
Yes.
You'll figure that the answer to war was police.
So, this is the second time Lock-On's got his ass beat, by the way. In, like, the same week.
That's the move I pulled in my in the Lancer game. Well, if the Gundam's fucked up, I better get out with a giant gun. See what I can do.
Yep, time to fight it, Gundam versus man. Alright, you're gonna come back in one piece, but is that piece gonna be alive, man?
Well, considering that he has rocket boosters and shit on his Gundam, and you've got nothing. Oh, you've got air. You've got air propulsion.
トランザムの限界時間が
やるはどこ行った
何やってんだろうな俺は
Being crazy, that's what, man.
Also, you don't aim at where it is, you aim at where it's going to be.
It's got advanced computers or something, I'm fine.
Well, as long as you're fine.
世界とも向き合えねえ生体反応だからさ狙いやつだ
Naturally.
Sorry, what? Why does his... Okay, was he just using the small gun to aim the thing he was standing on?
No, that was from the small gun.
I don't think so. He was hooked
I was
up.
thinking like you were thinking, though, too.
He was hooked up to it. I think he fired the big thing. There's just no way that small gun had the same output as his fucking giant mobile suit did.
元には戻らないってそれでもこれからは明日はライルの生きる未来を切な答えは出たのかよ
GN アームズが
Yeah, see? So you think Gary's dead?
Where I'm getting the feeling of it. Like that's about to explode and take it with him.
No, Gary. I said Gary. Do you think Gary is dead?
Yes, absolutely.
So the blue thing has nothing to do with Gary. This is Lock-On.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember which one Gary was, but no, he's dead.
Sanchez.
He's suicided. Oh, Sanchez, no, he's dead.
That's Gary.
I keep forgetting characters, man.
You just said, oh yeah, Gary's definitely alive. Sanchez? No, that guy's fucking dead. Which is it? Yes, everyone's safe.
As a robot, I know I'm supposed to sound cheerful, but I'm really in distress.
This is also the problem with the helmets. That dude looked exactly like Lock-On. With his purple helmet and his hair the same way.
They're color-coded, though.
So I think this lines up exactly where Biscuit died.
You know, you're right, I think.
Which, I mean, technically that would mean that IBO took cues from Gundam 00. It just happens that we were watching them in reverse. So
So, I mean, I'm genuinely kind of sad here, just because I'm like, Lock-On was actually a fun and interesting character, and now he's dead.
I guess it's time to stroke the mustache, the thing where all my hatred is born from. I could give two shits about Lock-On.
No, how dare you say that about him?
I said it before, specifically that why didn't they kill him when they gave him the eye patch thing, right? That he wasn't he was a character whose arc we had already played through the entirety of. It didn't make any sense to save him, which is when you gave me the whole I don't understand narrative nonsense. So, I'm glad it played out that they just wanted to give him one more episode.
Yeah, I guess that's the question here, Theta. Are you happy now?
I'm never gonna be happy. That's the thing about stories, right? You want more. You always want more. And the problem also always is the things you imagine are always going to be better than the things you're given.
無謀な望みを求める者は風車に挑む愚かな騎士か。たとえそうでも彼らはここにいるのだ。次回終わりなき歌。無垢なる望み、その代償は命か。
Oh, that's interesting. It goes
Good Quixote reference.
Okay. But you know, what I was saying was that the writer exists in the past, right? And they've already written. So every time you watch something, you're imagining a thing that the writer is competing with, that they don't know that they're competing with. So they can either exceed what you're imagining, apropos of nothing of their own because they've written the story before you, or they can fail to have as good of imagination as you do, or, you know, obviously also have a narrative that you're unaware of, because obviously you're watching things in temporal states.
Right. Part of enjoying things is having an emotional expectation of them. Like when I come into this, like I expect giant robot fights, and if I don't get that, I'm going to be a little bit confused and frustrated.
See, I oddly don't care about that. I think I could have...
That's my example.
Could possibly have an entire Gundam show with no fights, or no giant Gundam fights, and I think I'd still leave it happy. Like...
Right, because there's other things that you've built up an expectation for, things that you want, and that you feel that because you want it will make you happy when you see it.
For example,
it becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy in a way when
No. For example,
when you experience media. It's how you do it.
If you took Witch from Mercury, right, and you got rid of the duels, and you
Uh-huh.
got rid of like the terrorist fighting stuff, and it was just a slice of life school with mecha in it, right?
Uh-huh.
I'd be perfectly fine with that. The the kids pranking one another with the black thing that goes over top of your visor so you can't see 5 minutes into a test. That sort of shit. I'd be happy with that still. I can I can have a I mean obviously that doesn't play to Gundam's strengths of this is what the horrors of war are and this is why we should avoid fighting. Obviously it doesn't play to that, but I also think all of the best Trey's speeches given throughout an entire season of a show without any fighting, I think I'd still be down for that too.
Yeah. And I think even this series where like side characters have like their trauma moment in the hospital is like a demonstration that like Gundam can do the horrors of war without specifically like showing off a huge battle to keep you interested because you're a teenager.
Well, I think those two could just have a show all on their own. Like,
Basically are.
imagine if it wasn't the Trinity blowing
Mhm.
up the wedding that caused her to lose her arm. Imagine it was just one of those bombings that was taking place earlier in the season, and
Mhm.
that they just keep watching on the news that the Gundams are fighting this war on war thing, but we never actually see the Gundams because our main point of view was just these two civilians going about their day to day, and they just suffer from the results of the backlash against the Gundams and everything like that. Like, oh yeah, I had this pizza delivery job because I've been saving up to buy you a wedding ring. And then the dude loses his job because the pizza place can't afford the materials to make pizza anymore because all that shit is getting shipped off to army bases. Or, the transportation costs have gotten too high due to threat of against international transportation due to the Gundam attacks. These minor things affecting their day-to-day lives. I would be 100% in on that show.
Right. And I think as people who are like seasoned in at least watching some Gundam, we come to expect that. And that's I think what our hope is, right?
Uh,
We
that's
we
sorry.
want these things,
I'm
right?
stuck in that narrative dissonance of the two things you said. We're seasoned semi Gundam watchers. We are.
We've
We
seen at
are.
least one Gundam before and liked what it sold us on and what it actually gave us to.
We're veterans of fighting from the two fights we've been in. Right?
Technically true.
The
Technically
dissonance of the two
correct.
comments.
But no, like Gundam is definitely built on two pillars. One is cool robot fights, which if you don't know what Gundam is about, gets you in because you want to see a cool robot fight. And the other pillar is actually talking about something that matters. And I think that just actually is what engages us, and we like that part of it. And I think like here, even with Lock On, his story is engaging. I liked following him. I liked his emotions about it. I like the way that he tries to resolve it. And I like the way other people are like, no, 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 no. You're hurt. We failed to protect you last time. We're locking you in. Don't come out and do the fight. And he breaks out anyway because he's got to kill Ali here.
Like I said, Lock On was here for you. I had no, as I've often said, emotional resonance is a big thing for me. I
Yeah.
had nothing with that guy. Literally cared about him zero. He might as well have been a background character to me. There are like one, two,
If the story's about war,
maybe
everyone's the background
three,
character.
maybe three characters on the main team that I feel like maybe any connection to, or at least are following their stories. So everybody else could die in an explosion. I
Mhm.
would not be like, oh no, another one of my characters are dead. Not a thing I'd be feeling. There are more interesting characters on the people that are trying to kill them. And I'm not saying that I'm like super involved in those characters either, but at least they have things going on. Like the I'll avenge Howard guy who just showed up this episode. And yet
And suicide bombed,
I
my god.
still feel more character from him than the purple guy who maintains the Veda connection in their ship, who's a Gundam pilot meister, by the way. So,
Right, and there's a lot of characters you can attach to. This is this is good. If there's at least somebody you care about here,
I'm
or
not
at
saying
least
I care. I'm
things
saying
that are interesting to you and you're excited to see happen.
I'm just saying that again. This is another show, another Gundam show where the other side has more interesting characters because they're giving each one of them something, right? The couple episodes back there was you remember Independence Day, right? Will
Yeah,
Smith and his pilot buddy, and his pilot says, "I'm gonna try something stupid." Pulls the mask off. Put your mask back on, Marine. You know that whole scene?
yeah.
Yeah, we had that with the other Union pilots earlier, the flag pilots. I don't know what we call them. They're of the
Yeah.
Union. They're flying flags. There's something. Oh, they're flying flags. That is so fucking on the nose.
You
Anyway,
finally caught up. I know.
no, I
Keep
know.
going.
No, we've both been saying it's just saying it out loud. It's just ugh. Anyway, he's literally that character, right? He's like, oh, I got this, flies off by himself, gets fucking blown up, same way as the Independence Day thing. It's
Mhm.
They're literally have characterizations that they might only play out for like a minute before they die, but it's so much more than I feel like the blandness that I'm getting from the PTSD victims that are our heroes. Because the problem with a PTSD, blah, the problem with an ego death character is that they're not fun, exciting. They're just angst driven characters dealing with a past. And it comes down to like the IBO thing of the Calamity War, where we're like dealing with the fallout of the Calamity War, and we think, hey, you know, I think it'd be a lot more fun just to fucking watch the Calamity War.
Yeah, I know. At least here, this show does not have a more interesting thing that we're more interested in watching right now. This is the interesting part of the story here.
I think an argument could be made that it might be more interesting to see freedom fighter Setsuna, or I guess brainwashed fighter Setsuna, under Gary's. Sorry, Gary is just an easier name to remember. Gary
Yeah.
Under Gary's, even though you can't remember who the fuck Gary is. Uh, it brainwashed Setsuna fighting under Gary's command, and then becoming disillusioned by that, and becoming the ego dead character that he is now. I think that might be more interesting to see
Yeah, you
than,
want to see the tragedy.
well, because that's emotionally
Yeah.
driven. Where my problem with Setsuna is he's like deadpan every scene. He doesn't seem like I guess that's changed now in the last couple episodes because he's shouted things loudly, which is closer to an emotion than I've ever seen from him yet.
More specifically, in the last couple of episodes, he specifically has a purpose and has had that purpose validated by the person who's given him power in the first place to go after it.
Well, I think there's a difference between having a purpose and still having an emotional response to that purpose.
But he's a Gundam.
No, he's not a
That I'm gonna.
Gundam. He's a Gundam Meister. But no, I mean, it's like when you work in an office 9 to 5, day in, day out, and you become dead to the things around you, and it's just doing things over and over again. You have purpose. No one wants to watch you achieve your purpose. Setsuna has a purpose, but for most of the time, he's dead inside. He's got no emotion about it, and that doesn't make for an interesting character to watch. I'd rather watch a minute of the guy who thinks he can take on Mike Tyson in a fight when he's Little Mac. You know, the guy who flies out of formation, says, I got this, flies right at the Gundam and dies. That dude had a more interesting story arc in a minute than all
You
of
want a more
Setsuna's deadpan.
personable character, is what you want.
Yes, emotional resonance.
To be fair, yes, correct. In terms of like other things, just like one last note here. In terms of Gundam shows without Gundam fights, I think the 200-year conspiracy of Scheinberg here setting up a moon base would be an amazing series.
I mean, it could be. The problem is that he's Xanatos. And the entire thing about a Xanatos thing is that we'd have to then see him. I predict in 200 years, someone will try to. It's like.
Yes, you could get the conspiracy bullshit. You could get Light Liagami going, it's like, I'm gonna wipe my own memory so that I appear innocent.
Right, I'm just
And then
saying.
pick up a paper at the right time to get it back.
The entire thing about a Xanatos Gambit is that if you see it being built before it happens, it's gonna make no fucking sense. It might be more interesting to watch because these will be characters who don't have the whole. They'll be more modern, right? They'll be more modern characters in that they don't have this let's fight war to fight war thing. They'll be like normal people doing normal stuff. Like they'll be more like our civilian characters, and then one of them will be plotting for 200 years in the future for some reason. So it might be more interesting to watch from a person's perspective. Yes. It'll be insane because I'd be doing the same thing at the end of every episode. Why the fuck is he allocating all of these resources to this thing on the moon when there's no one fucking in space yet? You know, that sort of thing.
Because he's 2 steps ahead, Theta. So
Well, he's not 2 steps ahead. He is 30 generations ahead.
that's just how big-brained he is.
And then someone will build a castle above the clouds.
It's like, hold up a sec. Alright, so I think that's all we got here for Gundam 00 today. This has been Stoneface Reactions, everyone. I'm Griffin, that's Theta, and we'll catch you around next time. See ya. Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?